All right, so welcome back. So where I left off, so the it gave commands, gives the inclination that, or the implication that she is dead at the Duke's hand, and so the Duke asks, after giving this narration, explaining too much. You know how some serial killers want to kind of be caught, right? It's the reason why letters are written. It's a cat and mouse kind of game. We get that with the Duke. But the reason why the Duke is explaining everything is because the Count is there. The Duke wants to meet with the Count, or the Count wants to meet with the Duke about the Duke taking the Count's daughter as his wife. And the Duke wants to discuss kind of like an insurance payment, in a sense, like a life insurance payment, although it's just a dowry. The amount of money or treasure that the Count will pay the Duke. And he knows that because of the Count's generosity, nothing that the Duke says in terms of an amount, in terms of a monetary amount, will be shot down. He knows that he can just pretty much say anything, and the Count will agree with what he wants. So the question becomes: is the Duke just doing this to make money? Is he killing his wives and taking on new wives just to collect dowry money? It sure would appear that way, right? But before they go, he points out another object. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. Notice Neptune will go together down, sir. I kind of like that too. Down literally, but also down figuratively, down morally, right? By gaining knowledge to this information, even though it is kind of circuitous and convoluted, is not the Count's assistant who is receiving this information. And in many ways, we are the Count's assistants as we are receiving this information. We are reading and listening to what the speaker is saying. Are we not also morally suspect as well for having heard this? It's pretty interesting. Notice Neptune, though, taming a seahorse. So he points at another artwork, this time a bronze statue of Neptune taming a seahorse. Now, this becomes a metaphor for how he, quote unquote, tames women or objectifies women. Neptune taming a seahorse is a metaphor for him doing this to women, objectifying his ex-wife, and he will objectify soon his new wife, the Count's daughter. All right? So we get this image of a Duke who is a misogynist, who is a sexist, who is quite possibly a murderer and a serial killer. We get the idea this may not be the first time he's done this. Paranoid, just an all-around kind of terrible, terrible human that is in a position of power so he can keep doing this forever. Now, in terms of form, this poem is interesting because it hints at the speaker's logic. He is, above all, paranoid though he may be, he's coming off very rational sounding, very logical. And this logicality, I guess you could say, of the speaker is implied through the perfectness of the rhymes here. The entire poem is written in couplets, okay? Couplets are units of two lines that rhyme, all right? So, wall, call, hand, stands, I said, read, countenance, glance, by, I, durst, first, not, spot, perhaps, lapse, yada, 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 all the way down. Now, this use of rhyming couplets gives a sense of order, of reason. Rhyming couplets were huge during the age of reason in the 15th century, 16th century, the Age of Enlightenment. A lot of poets, Alexander Pope, Philip Sidney, all of these early poets wrote in couplets because it was considered the classical structure, right? It gives the impression of duality, of binary, of neatness on both sides of the equation. It gives the semblance of reason and order. Now, of course, we know that he is not rational. He's very irrational. But the way he's speaking And his use of word choice and his diction gives the impression this is a very, very intelligent, if morally suspect individual. All right. So when you're reading this poem, pay attention to the rhymes. What are the rhymes doing? How do the rhymes, in their perfectness, in their exactitude, how does that mirror the kind of coldness, the cold exactitude of the speaker, the Duke? How does it give the impression of order? Okay. Because he is orderly. He's clearly thought about this. My Last Duchess. It's a incredibly interesting, kind of difficult poem. So hopefully you got some stuff out of this. All right. Pick up next time.